In space, there is no sound. Yet the universe is full of music. Not the kind we hear with our ears, but vibrations, frequencies, harmonics, organized energy behaving like symphonies written across the cosmos. What if I told you that musical instruments, created by human hands, might be distant relatives of something much older? That the violin, the flute, and the drum are not just cultural artifacts, but echoes of the universe's very architecture? Let's go back in time, before civilizations, before humans, even before Earth existed. The Big Bang was not just an explosion, it was a vibration, an expansion of energy and space-time that spread not chaotically, but with a strange sense of order. Scientists describe these initial fluctuations as acoustic oscillations. In other words, sound waves. Not in the traditional sense, space was too hot and dense, but vibrations that shaped the structure of everything that came after. Galaxies formed along the crests and troughs of these cosmic waves, like dust settling on the strings of an invisible harp. Fast forward billions of years, and we find someone listening to the sound of a violin. Why does it move us? Why does a simple note vibrate in our chest, twist our hearts, or make us cry? Are we not just emotional beings, but resonant beings, literally tuned to the universe? Astrophysicists have studied the frequencies emitted by planets, stars, and black holes. Saturn, for example, sings. Its rings, like grooves on a vinyl record, produce radio waves when struck by charged particles. These waves have been converted into audio, and the result is chilling. A ghostly lament, like wind blowing through alien trees. Jupiter emits a low rumble, like distant thunder. And black holes? The sound of black hole mergers, captured by LIGO in 2015, was a true chirp, as if the universe itself whispered the birth of a new reality. These are not just curiosities, they are proof that the cosmos moves and speaks in patterns we can measure and, perhaps, feel. Take a wooden flute, a simple tool, invented independently by various ancient cultures. Air vibrating inside a hollow cylinder creates the tone, a concept so basic it predates writing. But the tone is not just a cultural invention, it is physics. The length of the tube determines the frequency of the vibration. The note it produces is not subjective. It obeys the same laws that shape the orbital patterns of moons and the rotation of galaxies. A longer tube means a deeper tone, just as a larger celestial body emits radiation at a lower frequency. Coincidence? Maybe. But consider this. When Pythagoras plucked a string and discovered that having its length doubled its frequency, he wasn't inventing harmony. He was revealing it. He was discovering something that already existed in the universe. There is a theory, rarely discussed outside deep physics and alternative metaphysics, that musical harmony is not just a human creation. It is a mirror of the fundamental forces of reality. That instruments are not simply cultural tools, but instruments in the literal sense. Devices to play the hidden symphony of the universe. The didgeridoo, used by Australian Aborigines for over 1,000 years, produces deep tones that correspond to the frequencies emitted by some rotating neutron stars. The tabla of Indian classical music relies on precise microtonal structures that mirror interference patterns of light waves. And the hang drum, a modern invention, uses overlapping resonances that can imitate the harmonics found in the cosmic microwave background radiation. Even the act of playing an instrument, pressing strings, controlling breath, applying pressure, is an attempt to shape chaos into pattern. Just as gravity shapes clouds of gas into stars, our fingers become forces, our lungs become waves, and music becomes memory. Because here is the strangest part of all. The human brain is programmed for resonance. Our neurons fire in rhythms, our heartbeats synchronize with beats, and our brain waves oscillate in frequencies. The theta waves of deep meditation, the alpha waves of calm focus. These are not metaphors. They are real, measurable musical patterns. You are an instrument. You vibrate. So when we ask where musical instruments come from, we could list their cultural histories. The Mesopotamian lute, the Japanese shamisen, the 19th century European saxophone, but the truth is deeper. These tools were not invented. They were remembered, rediscovered, drawn from a collective intuition that the universe is not silent, but humming. And somewhere in our DNA, We remember how to build the machines that let us hear it. NASA scientists recently used exoplanet data and turned it into music. Each orbit, each size, each density, translated into tone. What emerged was more than science. It was music that sounded alien and beautiful. When played, these planetary songs evoke awe, fear, wonder. Not because they are random, but because they make sense to something inside us, something ancient. And perhaps that is why we build instruments. Not for entertainment, not just for art, but as antennas, as tuning forks. We are reaching out, not to aliens or gods, but to the very fabric of the universe, asking it to respond. And it does. Every pluck of a string, every breath through a reed, every beat of a drum is a message and a reply, a handshake between mind and matter.